Or I ain't ever going broke. Just put 25 million in Ignite.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Trenddash. Today we're going to be talking about the end of Dan Bilzerian and his company Ignite. Make sure you stay until the end though, so you can see Dan Bilzerian's allegations of fraud and the charges against him. Your mind will be blown. When you first see him, it just seems that Dan Bilzerian has it all. His Instagram portrays him as the next Hugh Hefner with lavish trips, beautiful women, expensive cars, and more. Many can assume that he has boatloads of money and a seemingly perfect life. Well, apparently there are some pretty shady things that are happening behind the scenes. The king of Instagram may have just been dethroned. A lot of what you see may have been a lie. Dan first claims to have made his fortune off playing high-stakes poker, and it's the story that he stays with, paying little mind to who he addresses with respect to his wealth. Lately, his story has been criticized by actual poker experts, who have claimed that Bilzerian just isn't that good of a poker player, and the fact that there just isn't that much money to be made in poker as he claims to have made. People who have tried to follow the real source of his wealth have found that Dan's dad, Paul Bilzerian, served jail time for violations related within his practice as a corporate looter. Though he was ordered to pay a $62 million civil judgment for securities fraud, Paul Bilzerian only paid $3.7 million. As to the whereabouts of the rest of his fortune, that remains a mystery, but it's not hard to assume that he utilized offshore and domestic trusts to protect any remaining assets for his family. It might be tempting to believe that an Instagram VIP furnished with a personal luxury plane, a pack of alluring ladies available to him, and a few armloads of another person's cash has precisely zero issues. That is how our society trains you to think, and envying someone in this situation is even more compelling in the context of months-long coronavirus-induced isolation. But at least in the case of Dan Bilzerian, this thinking is wrong. For the CEO of Ignite, a cannabis brand, the COVID-19 summer of 2020 has presented plenty of challenges, and if the last month is any indication, the autumn may be worse. In July, the news that Ignite was $50 million in the red came out, a budgetary difficulty that constrained Bilzerian's organization to consent to end the rent on his leased by the company Los Angeles home, even as he was yachting around the Mediterranean. Meanwhile, shares in the company tanked, slipping from $1.44 Canadian to about 36 cents Canadian as of the most recent trading. Bad optics and bad business, but the lesson of the year of 2020 is that there is no bottom. And so late last week, news broke that CanMart, a distribution company that moves Ignite branded product in Canada, where Bilzerian's firm is publicly traded, was ending its relationship with Ignite. Theories that the king of Instagram, Dan Bilzerian, is a stressed man have flooded, as his organization, Ignite, keeps on floundering in bankruptcy. The poker player turned internet personality could be fleeing the country as his company stares at closure in just a few weeks. Dan Bilzerian, infamously known as the king of Instagram, is an American venture capitalist with 32.5 million followers on the platform. He is also an amateur poker player and has claimed that he got honorably discharged from the U.S. Navy SEALs after completing his training. Most of his posts on Instagram are about his extravagantly rich lifestyle. Back in July, Bloomberg had claimed that previous Ignite president Curtis Heffernan has filed a suit against the organization, guaranteeing that he was terminated for declining to support Dan Bilzerian's excessive spending spree. The company has not been in the best financial shape and received $1.2 million in Paycheck Protection Program loans from the U.S. government in 2019. Furthermore, Ignite International reported a loss of over $50 million last year, which has been widely attributed to the CEO's extravagant spending. Dan Bilzerian has been allegedly funneling investors' money to fuel his expensive habits, while the company currently has more liabilities than assets. In the video at the end of this article, YouTuber Jamari talks about all of these issues, also questioning Dan Bilzerian's poker skills. The 39-year-old has widely been said to be a below-average poker player and has been criticized for his Casanova-like lifestyle, especially with younger women. Moreover, the company that he founded is basically bankrupt and at the same time owes over $40 million to investors. According to the YouTuber Tom Nash, who examined Ignite's budgetary records for the past 6 months lately, the company is in dire financial situation that could see it close shop in just 2 weeks. Recently, Dan Bilzerian, who is Ignite's founder and CEO, has been posting pro-Armenian nationalist tweets that have left everyone wondering what's really going on with Dan and his company. Some months ago, a report by Forbes revealed that the Ignite company lost a staggering $50 million in 2019, which was seen as lavish spending by the CEO. Ignite International brand specializes in several products, including electronic cigarettes, cannabis, and others. However, Dan Bilzerian has excused such gossip, as confirmed by his ongoing tweets. In one of his tweets, he referenced Uber as an illustration to draw an equal and counter liquidation theory about Ignite. Dan Bilzerian has been criticized by a significant number of substance makers previously and was allegedly called the man-child of Instagram by YouTuber Philian. His source of funding is the company Ignite International Limited, to which he is the CEO and founder. However, recently, it has been claimed that most of his life is based on lies. Ignite is brand focused on customers, but doesn't generally appear to sell all that much lately. The company reported $1.6 million in sales in 2020 in its most recent financial statements, good for only about $600,000 of actual profit. And that to the news that Ignite shuffled company leadership again last month, with John Schaefer, who recently put in time at cannabis unicorn MedMen, took over as president on September 1st, Ignite's third president since June. And then what you're left with is a picture of a flailing business sinking further into turmoil, or whatever this is. At least with Schaefer, there is some continuity, who boasts of stops at grocery chain Wegmans and pharmaceutical giant Bayer's agricultural wing, in addition to a year at MedMen. Itself is a bit of an ongoing kind of dumpster fire. Now, according to his LinkedIn, Schaefer's been with Ignite for more than a year, joining the company as Chief Operating Officer in August of 2019, following his stint with MedMen, which he departed before the company imploded. Schaefer took over from Lester Lee, whose term as president endured barely short of a quarter of a year. Lee, whose previous ventures include selling something called Energy Gum, remains on the company's board of directors, and Lee was installed as president in early June when he replaced Curtis Heffernan. Heffernan exited on June 8th to pursue other opportunities, Ignite initially claimed in a press release. Now that is true in a sense, but Heffernan is currently pursuing a lawsuit against Ignite for, among other things, firing him as retaliation for pushing back against what he characterized as Dan Bilzerian's wanton and wild spending on the company credit card. Heffernan wasn't on the job very long himself, as he took over from Jim McCormick in November of 2019, but he has the distinction of being Ignite's second longest tenured president. 4 presidents in less than a year? What is next for Ignite other than searching for the next future ex-president? That is an excellent question. Touch oft neglected to document its Q2 financials on schedule, delivering it only more than 2 months after the cutoff time. However, this actually brings up a great deal of issues. Anyhow, they delivered it at last so no one could discover them. It's not on their site, which is shocking. Which company doesn't put their own financials on their own website? That is uncommon. So they throw it on some website, which is really hard to get to. The Ignite company started the year with $15.1 million and ended the second quarter with $5.8 million. This implies that it burned more than $9 million in just 6 months, translating into $1.5 million every month. Basically, Dan Bilzerian is a trustafarian. However, given the result of his own undertakings, he's not an extremely brilliant one. In addition to his trust fund, Bilzerian has been using his company Ignite International Brands Ltd. as something of a personal treasure trove. There seem to be a lot of online personalities that are gleefully covering Bilzerian's deception. Perhaps it's because they can't stand him as a person. Perhaps it's to throw it in his followers' faces. The source of his money doesn't matter as much as the illusion that he is selling. While you are here, go ahead and click on one of these videos on your screen, and we'll see you there.